Try to be nice to Sabrina, the grown-up Puck said with a chuckle. She's going to be important to you in the future, and trust me, she'll never forgive you for gluing her head to that basketball. Puck grinned. I never glued her head to a basketball. You're giving him ideas, the older Sabrina said reproachfully. Mr. Candace and Granny Rhoda stepped forward. Granny seemed stunned by her older self, but Candace walked up to her and took her hand. It's good to see you, old friend, the older Granny said. I know what happens, I just don't know when, he said. You don't have a lot of time left, the old woman said before breaking into a coughing fit. How do I stop it? You can't, the future Granny Rhoda said. I'm sorry. All right, folks, the hole's getting pretty small, the older Puck said. If we're going home, we better get going. Those with me, get back in the house, the future Daphne said. The rest get down. Everyone did as they were told. Then the older Daphne fired a wand into the air. It got the attention of the dragon, who made a beeline for the house. The older Daphne turned to little Daphne and smiled. There's big things ahead of you. There's big things ahead, girl. You're going to have to grow up a little, she said. I'll try, Daphne called back. Her future self darted into the house with her companions, and the house lumbered back into the black hole. The dragon roared and launched another ball of fire, and it disappeared into the abyss as well. A second later, the storm was gone, and the whole time closed in on itself. Sabrina's 12th birthday was embarrassing. Granny Rhoda made a big deal of it, forcing her to wear a funny hat that read, Birthday Girl. Daphne gave Sabrina her princess tiara. Uncle Jake gave her a new pair of sneakers. Mr. Candace, who was now wearing a bandage on his wounded eye, bought her a little portable radio for her room, and Granny showered her with clothes and a new bicycle. Puck left a box on the kitchen table with her name on it. Inside, she found a basketball and a tube of industrial-strength glue with a note that read, It's coming when you least expect it. Where is the freak baby anyway? Sabrina asked. In his room pouting, Granny Rhoda said. He's not at all happy about his current growth spurt. Is he sick? Daphne asked. No, he's growing up, Granny said. And if you think he's a pain now, wait until he starts getting pimples, Uncle Jake said. Prince Charming also attended the party, indulging in Granny's German chocolate cake. There was music, laughter, and happiness, which had been in short supply as of late. It seemed as if the recent troubles with Texas, Mayor Hart, and Nottingham would soon be distant memories. There was a knock at the door. Who can that be? Granny said. That's Sabrina's birthday present, Charming said. Sabrina was surprised. You got me a birthday present? Go answer the door, he said. A million ideas raced through her mind. What could the prince have gotten her? She threw open the door and was a little startled to find a strange woman standing on the porch. She was thin with brown hair and a pale complexion. Her lips were full and her eyes green. She wore a little black dress, pearls, and high-heeled shoes, and she oozed sophistication. Sabrina knew only one person that was more beautiful than this woman, and that was Snow White. Are you Sabrina Grimm? She asked. Sabrina nodded. My name is Bunny Lancaster, she said. William sent me. Okay, Sabrina said, a little dopey. Are you my present? The woman cocked an eyebrow. I'm not sure what you mean, dear. Charming appeared at the door. Bunny, thank you for coming. Please come in. The woman entered and the family gathered around her. Mrs. Grimm, this is Bunny Lancaster, Charming said. I know she is, the old woman said coolly. Sabrina had never seen her grandmother react that way to anyone. Where was the smile? Where was the sweet hello? Are you an ever after? Daphne asked, rushing to shake the woman's hand. She had her own palm prepped and ready to bite. Bunny nodded. Which one? Daphne asked, barely able to contain her excitement. Bunny shifted uncomfortably. In some circles, I have the rather unfortunate title of the Wicked Queen. Daphne went for the bite, but then stopped. You mean the one that tried to kill Snow White? I didn't try to kill her, Bunny said softly. Well, Mr. Charming, thank you for the birthday present, but you shouldn't have. Really, you shouldn't have, Sabrina said. I know this is uncomfortable, but Bunny is here to help you, Charming said. Help me? Take me to your mirror, the Wicked Queen replied. I'm not sure what you mean, Granny stammered. Mrs. Grimm, I am fully aware that you possess a magic mirror, the woman said impatiently. I also know that no one voluntarily gave it to your family nearly 100 years ago. I would like to see it. Granny glanced at Charming, who nodded as if to say Bunny could be trusted. Then she took out the staff keys from her handbag and led the group upstairs. She unlocked the door to the mirror's room, and everyone stepped inside. When the doors closed, the roaring began. Who dares invade my sanctuary? Mirror's violent face filled the reflection. Control yourself, the Wicked Queen said. Bunny, is that you? Mirror asked. There was a raw silence between the two. They shared an angry and uncomfortable look. What a pleasant surprise, Mirror said, forcing a smile to his face. The Wicked Queen stepped forward. Mirror, mirror, can you tell how to break the sleeping spell? Right down to business, Bunny. Very well, a kiss is all it takes, Mirror said. That's not what I asked, servant, the woman said sternly. Sabrina bristled the way the woman was talking to her friend. Mirror shifted, obviously taken aback by the Queen's rude tone. Bunny, Mirror, are you arguing with me? No, I asked you a question, and I answered it, Mirror said. No, you did not. Any fool knows a romantic kiss will break a sleeping spell. Do you think I don't know it? I invented this spell. I also know that there is always a back door. What's the back door? I'm not sure what you mean. The Wicked Queen's right hand began to glow red. Its intensity was blinding, and heat came off it like the fireballs the dragon had shot them the night before. Mrs. Grimm, your mirror is defective. Allow me to fix it for you. Wait, what are you planning on doing? Sabrina shouted. The repairs will not harm the contents, but this sorry excuse for a guardian is damaged. I take great pride in my work, and I should have fixed it a long time ago. Bunny, don't do anything you'll regret, Mirror said. You pompous, ridiculous little joke, the Wicked Queen said as she placed her red hand on the surface of the mirror. It's not like I'm going to kill you. You don't exist. You are a creation, a puppet, a shadow of a person. Your job is to serve your master, and you are failing. When a question is asked, you ought to answer it clearly and thoroughly. You need to be repaired. Mirror cried out in pain. Leave him alone, Daphne shouted. Angry clouds began to gather around Mirror's head. You are not my master. Every walking and talking person in the world is your master, Bunny said quietly. I created you. I know what the rules are. Now I'm going to ask you again, and this time I want you to give me a thorough answer. Mirror, mirror, can you tell how to break the sleeping spell? Mirror curled his lips and looked embarrassed. Sabrina wasn't happy either. Mirror was her friend, and she didn't like strangers being mean to her friends. She was fully prepared to step between the two of them when the Wicked Queen took her hand off the mirror's reflection, leaving a bright red handprint that quickly faded away. As it disappeared, so did the mirror's face, and another image replaced it. Sitting in a cafe on a cobblestone street was a blonde woman with short curly hair. She was sipping coffee and writing in a journal as a waiter in black pants and his white apron turned to get her attention. He spun her and said something funny, but she seemed to be in her own little world. There's your answer, the Wicked Queen said. Who's that? Daphne asked. Goldilocks, Uncle Jake whispered. Goldilocks, Granny repeated. Goldilocks indeed, Bunny said, eyeing each member of the Grimm family suspiciously. It seems as if she has found a way out of our happy little town. Lucky, lucky girl. Bunny, I appreciate the help, Charming said as he escorted her out of the room. Is she the one Dad was in love with before he met Mom? Sabrina asked. Granny shuffled her feet. Tell her, Mom, Uncle Jake said. It's her birthday. Well, is she the one? Granny nodded. Yes. Now let's say goodbye to our guest. Everyone piled out of the room except Sabrina. Admiral's face appeared in a reflection. He looked as if he had just been in a prize fight. Starfish. Have you known all along? Sabrina said, her voice trembling with anger in her. Mira shook his head. No, that's not how it works. I don't know anything. Were you keeping it from us? She felt like a volcano bubbling over with emotion. It's hard to explain, Sabrina. If the question isn't specific, the answers don't come to me. I'm not omnipotent. I'm just a magic mirror and I do what I was made to do. Ask a question, get an answer. If I had known there were more answers, I would have told you. Bunny forgets that I wasn't one of the deluxe mirrors. I was the first, the test product. She forgets she doesn't give me all the bells and whistles she gave the others. Through her anger, Sabrina could hear the pain in Mira's voice. It made her feel sorry for him, and her rage faded away. It's okay, she said. There is nothing wrong with you. Don't let her get to you. Mira looked as if he might cry. His face faded from the reflection. Sabrina looked down at her mother and father, still slumbering soundly in the queen-size bed in the center of the room. Now, all we have to do is find Goldilocks, she said. She joined everyone at the bottom of the stairs. Bunny was saying her farewells, though Granny and Mr. Canis were keeping their distance. She turned and opened the door. Standing on the porch was Snow White. The teacher was so stunned, she dropped a glass carousel she was carrying, cracking it into several pieces. Snow, Bunny said. Mother! Snow replied as if in shock. Mother? The girls shouted in unison. Billy, Miss White cried when she noticed Prince Charming through the doorway. She looked back and forth at all of them, confused. Where have you been? I've been busy, Charming said coolly. She was shocked at his attitude, but she knew the prince didn't want to see Miss White. He said he was hiding from her to protect her. Being aloof must be part of the plan. I've been worried, Miss White stammered. I've left messengers. I've searched for you. Then you are a fool, Charming said. You think I would want you? You left me at the altar. You humiliated me in front of my family and friends. Billy, go home, Snow. You're embarrassing yourself. Sabrina expected the teacher to turn and run off in tears, but instead she reached back and sucked Charming in the jaw. He stood his ground, but it was obvious that he was in pain. You sorry excuse for a man, Miss White said. How could I have been so blind? Then she turned Granny Rhoda. And you, now you're befriending my mother? I thought we were better friends than that. You of all people know what she has done. Snow White. Snow, I didn't. And you've been hiding Billy here all along while I suffered? Granny never got a chance to explain. The lovely woman stormed down the porch steps and raced off in her car before anyone could stop her. Well, that's another party I ruined, Bunny muttered. She waved her hand over the broken carousel and instantly reassembled, looking brand new. She handed it to Sabrina. Happy birthday, kid. Moments later, she got into a beautiful black sports car and sped away. Charming walked across the room, picked up his huge full-length magic mirror, and carried it outside. Where are you going? Granny Rhoda said. You don't have to leave. I have things to do, Mrs. Grimm, he said. And so does your family. You need to make sure Baba Yaga restores her guardians. You must make her understand that she is vulnerable. That's not going to be easy, Uncle Jake said. When I gave her back the wand, That seems to be the end of this video. I'll see you later.